Once again, it is time for another upgrade on the TTS. I'm not even going to do the whole intro spiel that I usually do, ladies and gentlemen. But today we are finally going to be upgrading the last part of our fuel system, and that is the high pressure fuel pump insert. As you guys know, for those of you that follow the channel, we've done the TTRS fuel pump with the PM4 control module. We've done basically everything else on the car as far as bolt-ons go, aside from the Unitronic intercooler that we do have on the way, and then a bigger turbo. Logically, the last step for us to get full bolt-on status is to finally finish up our fuel system. And by doing that today, we're going to be putting the fuel pump insert into the TTS finally, so that we can go stage 2 plus high pressure fuel pump tune and basically make as much power as this car is going to make, minus having colder air when we put the intercooler on the car. And then we also might see if we can convince Unitronic to let us run water meth on our current setup, if we can get that all sorted. But this is a really easy and straightforward install. So once again, I'm going to put you guys on the tripod, and we're going to pull the high pressure fuel pump off the car for the second time now in this build series, and we're going to go ahead and put the high pressure fuel pump insert into the brand new high pressure fuel pump that we have on the car right now. And then we'll tune it and we'll see how much faster the car is. From the last video, if you guys have been following the build so far, we are just shy of getting into 11 seconds on the street with a weird little slope where I test the car in Mexico, obviously. We do have another street legal event coming up. We actually have a couple more this summer at the local drag strip, so we want to kind of get this car to a point where we can take it out there and be relatively competitive current form without any crazy tire setups or weight reduction and that kind of thing. We're getting there. Let's take the high pressure fuel pump off the car and throw the insert in, and I will show you guys how to do it along the way. So we're going to start by disconnecting just the sensors and everything, because obviously all the sensors are going to be off the vehicle with the fuel pump. And then we are going to go underneath the pump down here. We're going to undo the 17 millimeter that holds the hard line onto the fuel pump. But before we do that, we're going to bleed off the pressure with the little bleeder valve that's right here on the fuel pump. That's kind of covered by a couple of these different lines. And because it's going to involve fuel, obviously get some rags or something ready. Here we go. Really that simple. Just poke the little thing in the bottom of there and it'll bleed off. And then I just kind of keep the rags under here for when we do the line, because I know the line is probably also still just going to dribble a little bit. And sometimes, because Volkswagen is so great at designing stuff, we have to move some other things out of the way, so that bleeder nipple that we originally drained blocks the bottom bolt for the T30. So we're just gonna have to undo that guy as well, just to get it off. Of course, that's gonna leak a whole bunch. Just move that off to the side. Dip in here. Bottom T30 now. And we're just undoing these by hand because we obviously don't want to damage the threads. Because if you don't have the stud kit for your pump, like I don't have one, I just put new bolts in. So you just want to make sure that you don't mess up the threads on the head or the pump, because if you mess up either, you're either going to need to tap your head or your vacuum pump section of your motor, or you're going to have to convert to studs. Not ideal sometimes, because we are going to need to get the soft line off the pump now. You can use pretty much any tool that you can fit in here to get the hose clamp off the soft line. I'm just using needle nose. You just walk that down the soft line, and there we go. Fuel pump is off. Pretty simple. Took me like literally 3 minutes. We're also gonna pull our cam follower out just to have a quick inspection of that guy. And I just basically put this one in, so looks brand new still, which is good. So next phase of the process, as I'm dripping fuel everywhere, is we got to put this guy in the vise, double up on the microfiber here. Be careful the orientation and stuff that you put everything in, because obviously we don't want to break any of the sensors or anything. So I'm just going to barely snug this guy in here because the sensor on the bottom is just kind of not in a very friendly spot. First thing is you're gonna pull this guy out like that and put everything in a clean space. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab our 18 mil deep socket. And we're going to remove the retaining nut off of the pump. And this is the main part of why it's in the vise. So should be able to ultimately unthread this by hand once you break it off. Well, don't break it off, but you know what I mean. Initially loosen it. Like that. Put that next to the other guy. And then we're going to remove the OE sleeve. I'm going to very carefully do with some needle nose pliers just to not scratch it, hopefully. Which is that, as I drop it. Which is that guy there. Put this guy down in there, which is your new, can't remember what they called this. The new sleeve. Mine's, I have the 034 kit. They're pretty much all the same, give or take. Probably maybe some like small differences or whatever. Get that in there if it'll let us. So now we're going to separate the spring off of the piston. Put this guy down into here, like that. Spring on. Then we're gonna install our little keepers here. I had to move you guys because I realized you can't even fucking see what I'm doing. Cool. And now we're going to re-lubricate the O-ring and such for our reassembly here. And we're gonna put this guy back on. Go ahead and start locking that down. There we go. And that's basically it. There you go. So we've got the new piston in there, so we can just straight up go and reinstall it now, which is super simple. All right, gonna go ahead and reinstall the follower. And if you haven't done your follower in a while you do this install, this is probably a good time to do it, or basically any time that you do anything with the high pressure fuel pump. Gonna go like this. We're gonna put the soft line back on first because that's gonna be the biggest pain in the ass of all of this. And we're done. That's the install for the hardware. So now we're going to do the install for the software. Just before we do that, we're gonna fire it up and make sure we got no leaks or anything, because that would be a fun little issue to have after doing all this, so. The leaks. Doesn't look like we got any. Man. Update our tune real quick. Got our Uni-Connect cable. We'll go ahead and plug this into the OBD real quick. Make sure our laptop's alive here. Okay, just had to quickly update the firmware on the cable. Just gonna go ahead and go up to the high pressure fuel pump tune. because we're currently stage 2 plus. Like I said, we don't have an intercooler yet. That's the next logical thing. Downpipe intake, coil packs, 93 octane, that kind of thing. But yeah, here we go. So stage 2 high pressure fuel pump, 93 octane tune. Good to E20 apparently, so maybe we'll scoot some ethanol into it. I know Shell 93 in Canada already has about 10% ethanol content, so Could bump it up a little bit, but we'll see what it does as is. So we're gonna go ahead and let the car do its thing. And we'll be back in probably, I'm gonna say probably take about 5 minutes to do this. It's usually pretty quick through the UniConnect app. So we'll see, we'll be back. Beautiful, all good to go. Alrighty. So we'll close everything up and let's go for a little boogie and see if the car feels. Just gonna go drive around and let it warm up and then see what it does. It's probably gonna be barely in the 11s, I think, because we were like a 12:06 or something. I'll put the time that we tested last with the, oh no, the PM4. Since we did the PM4, it did that. Give her a go, we'll see. Got some extra juice on the acceleration, that's for sure. Very nice. Definitely starting to be able to hear the turbo a lot more, which I'm happy about because it used to be very, very quiet. But we're gonna head to Mexico, the usual. We're gonna go test the draggy. So let's go over there. So the performance gain wasn't super crazy. It's also hot, very hot outside right now. It's like 30 degrees Celsius. All my other testing I've done around about 20 degrees. So we're gonna go and try again in a couple hours just to kind of get the weather to get a little bit colder to see if that's gonna make a difference for us. Yeah, so I will see you guys in about 2 seconds when it's a little bit colder out. All right, so it is a little bit colder out. The draggy still seems to think that it's the exact same temperature, but hopefully having a little bit of lower IATs like at the actual intake is gonna make enough of a difference for us to get into the 11s as we are so close, as I said before. So we're gonna give it 2 more tests and then we'll see where we're at with the high pressure fuel pump, because after that we pretty much don't have anything else we can do other than an intercooler and a bigger turbo. So let's see if we can get into the 11s right now. Okay, we're just gonna move the car around to get the IAT to go down just a slight little bit, because I know the engine bay is gonna be kind of hot. I'm just gonna drive down the strip in Mexico really quickly, get the car moving a bit more. My dumbass just did that with the windows down, so that probably doesn't help. We're gonna go one more time. Yeah, I think we gotta find a flatter part of Mexico because the slope is just fucking us up. Like 12.4, it's colder out, we have like fresh gas, it's not even a full tank, tire pressure's lower. Like I really just, I think it's just the road at this point, because like the slope is all over the place. It's like going up at the beginning and then just, yeah, I don't know. So like it's faster for sure. The 60 foot is consistently under 2 seconds now.